Lieutenant Kara Vance woke to nothing. No light, no sound, no air moving. Her eyes opened wide, but there was only black. She couldn't tell if she was still dreaming or if she had gone blind. For a moment, panic clawed at her chest. She sucked in a sharp breath and realized her oxygen mask was gone. Her training kicked in. Calm down. Listen. Think somewhere in the darkness came a sound slow, soft, and steady. Knock, knock. It wasn't mechanical. It wasn't random. Someone or something was making it on purpose. Her hand went to her unit. Dead. Not even static. She tried the emergency light on her wrist pad. Nothing. The power cells must have been drained. She slid one hand along the cold floor. Metal, smooth and slightly curved. Like a wall panel from a ship. But not any design she recognized. Her last memory was flying patrol in the Orion Drift. She had answered a faint distress beacon. Then nothing. No fight, no crash, just darkness. The knocking stopped. Kara held her breath, straining to hear anything else. Then something moved in the shadows. A shift of air, a faint scrape against the floor. Her muscles tensed. She reached forward slowly, fingers brushing against something solid. It was cold, heavier than it looked, smooth metal under her palm. She traced its shape. Not a box, not a weapon. Then her fingers found a long, thin ridge like a visor, a helmet. But it wasn't human. The shape was all wrong. The neck joint was too wide, the visor curved too sharp. She pulled her hand back quickly. A voice came from somewhere to her left. Low, raspy. Not human. You are. It's not supposed to. Be alive. Kara's heart hammered. The voice was close, maybe only a few meters away, but she couldn't see a thing. She didn't speak right away. She waited. Silence stretched out, heavy and suffocating. Who are you? She asked finally. You do not remember. The voice said, Could. That means they have not finished with you. She tried to stand, but her head hit something above low ceiling. The air was already feeling thin. Where am I? She demanded. A faint, almost mocking laugh came back. You are in the dark. That is all you need to know. Her survival instincts screamed. At her. She took a step back until her shoulders hit the wall. What do you want from me? I want nothing, the voice said. I am a prisoner, same as you. But you are different. Kara's fists clenched. Different how? A sound of movement against low, deliberate. Because they brought you here alive. They do not do that with humans. Her mouth went dry. Who's they? You will see. When the light comes, the air shifted, colder now. Kara tried to focus, but the darkness was a wall. Every sound seemed bigger in it, every breath too loud. The helmet lay near her foot. She nudged it away. Her mind ran through possibilities: pirates, alien raiders, some kind of deep space scavenger crew. But the voice. The voice didn't match any alien species she knew. The knock came again. Knock, knock, knock. This time it was louder, closer, not in the room at the door. The voice in the dark whispered fast now, urgent. When the light comes, run. Kara's pulse raced. She had no idea where she was, no weapon, no plan. But something in the way the voice spoke told her that staying put was death. Metal groaned. A hiss of pressure released. Then blinding white light flooded the room. Kara flinched, raising a hand to shield her eyes. And in the doorway stood something massive. It filled the frame 8 feet tall, armored from head to toe in dull silver plates. Its face was hidden behind a smooth mask. In one hand, it held a weapon that looked like a net made of glowing threads. The giant scanned the room slowly. Light seemed to burn in Kara's eyes after so much darkness. It stepped inside. Kira's first instinct was to move back, but there was nowhere to go. She pressed her back against the cold wall. The creature's head turned toward her. The glow of its visor reflected faintly off her skin. The voice in the dark didn't speak again. The giant stopped only 2 steps away. Kara's breath came fast now. Her body screamed to fight or flee, but her mind told her one thing: don't move. The giant tilted its head as if studying her. Then it raised the weapon slowly. Kara's stomach turned to ice. The voice finally spoke again, softer than before, almost like a warning meant only for her ears. They are here for you. The giant's weapon hummed softly, the glowing net pulsing like it was alive. Kira's muscles were tight, ready to spring. She didn't know where to run, but she knew she couldn't let that thing throw the net on her. Then something unexpected. The giant didn't attack. It lowered the weapon slightly and reached to its belt, pulling out a small black cube. It pressed the cube, and a strange ripple spread through the air, like heat waves, but colder. Lights flickered and died. Darkness again. Kara blinked hard, trying to adjust, but the sudden return to black was worse than before. She could hear her own breathing and another sound, somewhere to her right. Movement. The giant spoke now, but not to her. Subject secured, it said in a deep, metallic voice. Prepare the chamber. She realized with a jolt that the voice was not natural. It was filtered through the mask, robotic and flat. Then a hand gripped her arm strong, cold and unyielding. She tried to pull away, but the grip was like iron. Don't fight. The other voice, the prisoner, whispered again. It was close now. If you fight, they will hurt you first. Kara gritted her teeth. Why are you helping me? Pause. Because if you die too soon, I have no chance to escape. The grip on her arm tightened, and the giant pulled her toward the doorway. She stumbled, her boots scraping on the floor. She felt the prisoner brush past her, a shape in the dark, moving differently from the armored giant. Outside the room, there was a faint red glow, emergency lighting in a narrow corridor. The walls were smooth and black, with faint lines of alien script running along them. Kara didn't recognize the language. 2 more armored figures waited, their glowing visors turning toward her. No faces. No expressions. The giant holding her gave a curt nod, and they started moving. Kara counted her steps: left, right, trying to keep track of turns. She'd learned long ago that in hostile territory, memory was her best weapon. The prisoner moved beside her, still whispering when the guards weren't looking. They took your ship. They think you are the key to something. I don't know what yet. Where are we? Kira asked under her breath. The prisoner's answer was short. Far from anywhere humans should be. They reached a large, circular door. It hissed open, revealing a room that looked like a lab, but not like any lab on Earth. The walls were lined with tall, glass-like tubes filled with thick blue liquid. Shapes floated inside them, too distorted to see clearly. Her stomach turned. What are those? Not human, the prisoner said. Not alive. Not yet. The guards pushed her inside. One of the armored figures tapped a control on the wall, and a flat platform rose from the floor. Restraints slid out from its sides, ready to lock around wrists and ankles. Kara stepped back. No, she said firmly. The giant who brought her here didn't argue it, simply raised the glowing net. The strands moved like they were made of light, twisting and writhing in the air. Something in her gut told her it wasn't just for trapping, it would burn. She swallowed hard. Fine. She climbed onto the platform, never taking her eyes off the guards. The restraints clicked into place, holding her tight. The prisoner was forced onto another platform across the room. In the faint red light, she could finally see him, tall, lean, with sharp alien features. His skin was pale gray, marked with faint blue lines that glowed under the light. His eyes, large, black, and unblinking, watched her with a strange mix of curiosity and calculation. You're not human either, she said quietly. No, he admitted. But I've fought beside humans before, long ago. One of the guards stepped forward, placing a hand on the side of Kara's head. A strange cold sensation spread across her skull, like icy fingers pressing into her thoughts. She clenched her jaw, fighting to stay conscious. "They are scanning you," the prisoner said. "They want to know what you know." The cold deepened, and memories flashed her ship, her crew, the distress signal she had answered. Her mind screamed to hold back, to not let them in. She focused on one thing: her name, Kara Vance, Lieutenant Earthfleet. Again and again, like a shield. Suddenly, the cold vanished. The guard stepped back. "She resists," the giant said in its flat voice. "Prepare the next phase." A panel in the wall slid open, revealing a machine unlike anything she had seen, with dozens of slender arms tipped with glowing tools. It hummed softly, almost like it was breathing. The prisoner's gaze sharpened. "They're not here to kill you," he said. "They're here to change you." Kara's heart pounded. Into what? The alien's black eyes didn't blink. Into something they can control. The machine moved closer. Cliffhanger. Its first metal arm reached for her face, the tip glowing white hot. And then from somewhere deep in the ship, a loud alarm blared. The sound tore through the room like a blade sharp, urgent, unrelenting. A deep, wailing siren that seemed to shake the walls themselves. The giant guards froze. Their glowing visors flickered, and for the first time, Kara thought she saw hesitation. The machine stopped moving, its glowing arm pulling back. The hum in the room changed lower, almost nervous. The prisoner turned his head toward the ceiling, his black eyes narrowing. "That's not for us," he murmured. "That's for them." Kara strained against the restraints. "What's happening?" Before he could answer, a voice came over the ship's speakers, a rapid stream of alien language, clipped and tense. The tone was enough to make her pulse spike. Something had gone very wrong. One guard barked an order to the others. They moved quickly. Now one ran to a control panel. Another turned toward the door, weapon ready. The prisoner leaned slightly toward her, speaking just loud enough for her to hear. "Whatever this is, it's your only chance. When they're distracted, you run." Her wrists ached as she tested the restraints. "I can't move." His eyes flicked to her bonds. "I can fix that." Before she could ask how, the lights cut out completely. Darkness swallowed the room. She heard movement fast, precise, and then a wet metallic crack. Something heavy hit the floor near her. There was a faint hiss, and her left restraint suddenly went loose, then the right. "You're free," the prisoner said calmly. "Get up now." Kara slid off the platform, her legs shaky from being pinned down. She could barely see, but she followed the sound of his footsteps. A faint blue glow appeared coming from the lines on his skin. It wasn't much, but it was enough to guide her through the dark. They moved fast, toward the door, stepping over something bulky. Her boot brushed against it, and she realized it was a guard's body armor split open like it had been crushed. The corridor outside was chaos. Red emergency. Lights flashed. More alarms echoed from deeper in the ship. Shadows moved quickly, shapes that didn't look like the armored giants. Kara kept her voice low. "What's attacking them?" The prisoner didn't slow down. "Not your concern right now. Need to reach the docking bay." They took a sharp turn down a narrow passage, the walls trembling around them. A sudden explosion rocked the ship, throwing Kara against the wall. Metal groaned under the impact. The prisoner grabbed her arm, pulling her forward. "Move." They burst into a wider hall and almost straight into two more guards. The aliens raised their weapons, glowing nets flaring to life. Kara dove sideways just as a net shot past her, sizzling against the wall. The prisoner didn't dodge, he charged. His hands moved faster than she could track, and the first guard went down with a twisted neck. Second got a hand around his weapon, but the prisoner wrenched it free and used it on him. The glowing net wrapped around the guard's body, constricting with a sharp crack of energy. "Keep going," the prisoner ordered. They ran again, boots pounding against the metal floor. The hall ahead split in two. He took the right path without hesitation. This way leads to the secondary bay. Less guarded. Was still guarded? Two more armored figures waited at the end of the hall. Kara spotted a vent grate halfway between them and the bay. Without thinking, she sprinted toward it, dropped to her knees, and yanked. It didn't budge. The prisoner slammed into the guards, keeping them busy. The latch pull. The latch. She found it on the side and twisted hard. The grate came loose with a sharp clang. "In here," Reese called. He shoved one guard aside, grabbed the other's weapon, and dove into the vent behind her. They crawled quickly, the sound of armored boots clanging close behind. The vent sloped downward. Kara's arms burned as she pulled herself along, heart hammering. Then, light ahead. They dropped out into a small maintenance room. A sealed door stood on the far side. The prisoner crossed to a panel on the wall and began working on it with quick, sure movements, almost. There, the door slid open, revealing the docking bay. Kara's breath caught. There were ships here, sleek alien craft, but between them, chaos reigned. Figures she didn't recognize fought the armored guards. Sparks flew from damaged hulls. Fire licked the edges of the bay walls. "What the hell is going on?" she asked. The prisoner gave a sharp smile. "Rebellion. Cliffhanger. Before she could respond, a massive shadow passed over them. One of the alien ships was lifting off inside the bay, and its weapons were pointed at them. The ship's engines roared like a storm, shaking the docking bay. The alien vessel hovered just meters above the floor, its massive cannons lowering, aimed directly at Kara and the prisoner. "Move," the prisoner shouted. Kara dove behind a stack of metal crates as a blinding blast tore through the spot where she'd been standing. The heat seared the air, and shards of glowing debris rained down around her. The prisoner didn't hide. Instead, he dashed toward the nearest fighter craft, moving with impossible speed. Bullets or something like them whizzed past him, but he didn't slow. "Kara," he called over the noise. "Get to the small ship. Far corner." She hesitated. The far corner was across an open stretch of bay where a crossfire erupted between the rebels and the armored guards. Another blast from the heavy cannons shook the floor. No time to think. Kara sprinted. The red emergency lights stuttered, throwing the battlefield into bursts of shadow and light. She ducked behind burning wreckage, leaped over fallen bodies. Some human-shaped, some not tan, slid across the last few meters to the corner. The small ship wasn't small at all. It was a sleek, dark gray craft with edges so sharp it looked like it could cut the air itself. The cockpit hatch was open, lights flickering inside. She pulled herself up into the pilot's seat. The controls were alien, smooth and cold under her fingers. Symbols she didn't understand glowed faintly across the panels. The prisoner appeared. At her side, dragging a strange weapon, skin glowed brighter now, the lines pulsing like veins of light. "They'll be here in seconds," he said, sliding into the co-pilot's seat. "Buckle in." "I don't even know how to fly this thing," she admitted, her hands shaking. "Good news," he said, pressing his palm against the control surface. "You won't have to." The ship came alive. Engines hummed beneath them, a deep, steady vibration. The cockpit glass darkened slightly as targeting data lit up in alien script. The heavy ship in the bay turned toward them, its cannons charging for another shot. The prisoner's voice was calm. "Hold on to something." With a sudden, bone-jarring lurch, their craft shot upward. The acceleration slammed Kara back into her seat. Below, the enemy blast hit empty floor, scorching metal where they'd been seconds ago. They weaved through the chaos of the bay, avoiding debris and enemy fire. The prisoner's hands moved like lightning over the controls, the ship responding instantly to his commands. They shot toward the force field barrier that sealed the bay from the vacuum of space. Kara's heart pounded. She didn't see any way through. "Ah, that's a wall." she shouted, not for long. At the last second, he hit a control. The force field shimmered, then split open just wide enough for their ship to burst through. Space swallowed them, vast, black, and full of stars. Kara barely had time to breathe before the radar lit up with red markers. Dozens of ships were chasing them, some small and fast, others massive warships. The prisoner checked the display. "We're not outrunning them in a straight line." "Then what's the plan?" He gave a thin smile. "We disappear." He threw the ship into a steep dive toward a massive asteroid field. The rocks spun slowly, huge and jagged, their shadows deep and cold. Kara gripped the seat as they darted, between tumbling boulders, some larger than cities. Enemy ships followed, but their formation broke some too cautious to enter. Others smashing into the rock walls in the chaos. The prisoner twisted the ship sharply, skimming so close to an asteroid surface that Kara swore she could see the scratches in the rock. One pursuer stuck with them, weaving through the gaps. Its weapons flared, sending bursts of light past. Their cockpit. The prisoner muttered something under his breath, then slammed his glowing palm against a different panel. The ship seemed to ripple like it had become half shadow. The pursuing craft fired again, but the shots passed through them like smoke. Kara's jaw dropped. What just happened?" "They can't hit what's not entirely there," he said. "Now they can't find us either." "Sure, enough." The pursuing ship slowed, scanning the empty space where they'd been. Then it turned away, disappearing into the maze of rock. The prisoner guided their ship deeper into the asteroid field, slowing until they were hidden in a deep, dark crater on one massive rock. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The only sound was the hum of the engines. Finally, Kara broke the silence. "You're going to tell me what's going on now, right?" His eyes black, cold, and yet somehow human met hers. "You were taken for a reason that could decide the future of more than just Earth." Her pulse quickened. "What reason?" He looked away, out at the stars. "Because you're the only human who can open the Ark." Cliffhanger. Before Kara could ask what the Ark was, the radar pinged one massive red marker, approaching fast. The ship's ID came T. The red marker on the radar grew larger with each passing second. Whoever was out there wasn't just approaching, they were hunting. The prisoner's hands moved over the controls with urgent precision. They shouldn't have been able to track us, not in the shadow field. Kara gripped the edges of her seat, so either they got lucky or someone told them where we are. His jaw tightened. Not luck. The alien craft came into view on the far edge of the craters, sleek, black, and bristling with weapons. It wasn't a patrol ship. It was a hunter. Kara leaned forward. "We can outrun them, right?" "No, this ship isn't built for speed. It's built for something else." Her frustration boiled over. "Then tell me. Tell me why they took me, why they want me, what this Ark is, before we both die." The prisoner didn't answer right away. Instead, he tapped a panel, and the cockpit glass darkened. A projection lit up between the man image of a colossal structure floating in deep space. It wasn't a station. It wasn't a planet. It was something older and stranger. A massive ring-shaped construct. Its surface carved with glowing lines and symbols. Kara stared. "What is that?" Case said quietly. "It's not a ship. It's a vault. Built before any of our species walked the stars. Inside is a weapon or a cure. No one knows which. You think I can open it?" His gaze locked on hers. "I don't think." "I know only humans have the genetic pattern that can unlock the Ark's core." Kara felt cold. "And if the people chasing us get there first, then the galaxy burns." The hunter's ship fired. The blast struck the asteroid wall beside them, throwing the craft into a violent spin. Kara's stomach lurched as the prisoner fought to stabilize. They'll keep firing until the rocks around us collapse," he said. "We have to move now." They shot out of the crater, weaving through tumbling debris. The hunter's ship stayed close, its weapons glowing hot. Kara's mind raced. They're faster. We need another way to lose them. The prisoner didn't answer with words. Instead, he took the ship straight toward the heart of the asteroid field, into a dense cluster where even the smallest mistake meant being smashed to pieces. Kara's hands dug into the seat. You're insane. Maybe, but they won't. Follow us in here. He threaded the ship through the chaos, sliding between spinning boulders, dodging shards of rock no bigger than a fighter jet. Behind them, the hunter hesitated, but only for a moment. They're following, Kara shouted. The prisoner cursed in a language she didn't know. Then hold on. He reached over, placed her hand on a glowing panel and said, think about where you want to be. What? Just do it. The moment her skin touched the panel, the ship's systems flared to life. Symbols shifted. The hum of the engines deepened. Kara thought about escaping, about getting as far away from this hunter ship as possible. Light exploded around them. The asteroid field vanished. In its place was empty space and the Ark. Kara's breath caught. The massive ring floated ahead, its surface humming with ancient power. The prisoner exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for hours. We're here. Kara turned to him, her voice sharp. Shh. You didn't tell me this ship could jump. Shh. You couldn't have done it before, he said. It needed your touch. The Ark loomed closer, its vast gates slowly turning toward them, but before they could approach, the radar screamed. Multiple red markers blinked into existence behind them. The hunter ship had followed, and it hadn't come alone. Cliffhanger. A fleet of enemy ships poured into the system, blocking the Ark from view. The prisoner's voice was grim. They brought an army. The Ark's enormous ring filled the view, a head miles wide, glowing faintly like a sleeping giant. Kara could feel it, not just see it. The hum in her bones grew stronger, the closer they got, but the feeling was cut short by the sight behind them. A dozen enemy ships poured into the system's leak, deadly and moving fast. The hunter's ship led the pack, its black hull gleaming with malice. They're blocking every exit, Kara said, her throat dry. The prisoner, whose name she'd finally learned was Tavor, checked the controls. If they get to the Ark first, everything ends. We can't run. Kara looked at the Ark again. So we fight. Tavor gave a humorless smile. I was hoping you'd say that. The first wave, the enemy fleet spread out, surrounding them like a net. Beams of light lanced toward their small craft. Tavor jerked the controls, dodging the first salvo. Weapons? Kara asked. He shook his head. This isn't a warship. But the Ark, it might protect itself. Kara glanced at the glowing panel, the same one she'd touched to make the ship jump. You think it will answer me again? Tavor nodded once. It was built for you. The touch, Kara placed her hand on the panel. The ship shuddered. Symbols raced across the glass. Her vision blurred as someone spoke inside her mind. Guardian recognized. Access granted. The Ark lit up. Rings within rings began to turn, each motion sending waves of golden light rippling into space. The enemy ship slowed, unsure. Kara gasped. It's talking to me. What is it saying? That it can defend itself. But it needs permission. Tavor's voice was steady. Then give it. The Ark awakens, Kara whispered. Do it. The Ark's glow intensified until it was blinding. From its surface, beams of white energy shot outward, not like weapons, but like a pulse. Every enemy ship hit by the wave froze in place. Engines died. Weapons went cold. The hunter ship tried to break away, but the light caught it too. Kara could see its captain, an insectoid figure, thrashing in panic before the ship went dark. They're not destroyed, Kara said softly. No, Tavor replied. The Ark doesn't kill unless it has to. It's deciding what happens next. It's the choice inside her head. The Ark's voice returned. They seek destruction. You can end them, or you can send them away. Kara hesitated. She remembered the jeers, the mocking, the endless wars aliens had brought to humanity. This was her chance to end the threat forever. But she also remembered the stories her grandmother told about mercy being humanity's true strength. She took a deep breath. Send them away. The end. And the beginning the Ark obeyed. The enemy ships vanished, whisked away in streaks of light to some unknown place. The system was quiet again. Kara collapsed back into her seat, exhausted. It's over. Kaver shook his head. No, it's just begun. The Ark has chosen you as its guardian. That means every species that fears it will come for you and for Earth. Kara stared at the ring, its ancient surface still glowing gently. She didn't know if she felt honored or terrified. In her mind, the Ark's voice spoke once more. Guardian, the long way back has only started. Will you walk it? Kara whispered, yes. The Ark's gates began to open, revealing a path into its heart. Final cliffhanger for your viewers. As their ship crossed the threshold, sensors detected something inside the Ark. A massive fleet. But these ships were human, and they had been waiting.